you can see the image because it's not showing up on my computer. Hi, Kathleen. NMB. I don't know what's going on. Dennis. Angela. Teresa. Cindy. Okay, well, guess we'll just have to go imageless and hope that it all is working. Hi, Rose. Hey, everybody. It's me, Father Scott, your pastor. Hope you're having a good day. If you're on our flock notes, you got a email from us today, an announcement to me about Sunday Masses and how we're trying to fill up the empty spaces there. So check out that video, or I'll just tell you right now that we're letting people, even if you're not registered, you can come. And if there's spaces that hadn't been registered for, we'll let people use those until those are full, and then we'll send everybody else up to the school. But come on campus, regardless of whether or not there's something in the church for you. You can always go to the school, so you always have a place to watch it with your fellow parishioners, and you get to receive Jesus there. So just think about that. Okay. There was this time when I was a kid. So I have 6 older brothers and an older sister. And my parents had the first 5 in like 6 or 7 years. And then and then they had 3, like 4 years, 5 years, 5 years. So even though I had the experience of having a bunch of people in the house, for a good chunk of my life, it was pretty much just me and my brother Tom, or it was just me. Well, there was this one time during the summer where he and I were left home alone. My sister, I think, was still living there maybe, and she and my mom went out to do shopping or something, but it took them like all day. And all my brother and I had to do, all we had to do was wash and dry the dishes, just clean up the kitchen. I mean, something all of us do every day for in a few minutes, no big deal, do it. Well, when my mom and sister got back at like 4, we still weren't done. When my dad got home at 5:15, we still weren't done. And understandably, he was not very happy with us. And I remember standing in the living room, and he was in the Lazy Boy recliner, his Lazy Boy, which we called it the sleep monster, because every day we'd have dinner, and then my dad would go and, after helping with cleaning up and everything like that, he'd go sit in the sleep monster and watch the McNeil Lehrer NewsHour. And it wouldn't be like 10 minutes and he'd be out. But if you go in there and you like change it, because when you're a little kid, McNeil Lehrer NewsHour is about as exciting as paint drying. If you go change the channel, he will wake up and go, "What are you doing?" "I'm watching that." But anyway, I remember him sitting in that chair, and then 2 of us were standing in front of him, and he's just like, "You had all day and you couldn't get the dishes done. You had all day and you couldn't get it done." That memory comes to mind for me right now because I'm on day 9 of my quarantine. Monsignor and I just have one more day tomorrow, and then Sunday we're back at it. And we're both pretty excited to be back in the church, to see people live, to be celebrating not with a little camera sticking in our face. So, okay, but I've had 9 days of quarantine. And on day 1, I thought, okay, well, I've got all this, stuff in the house that still needs to be done. Admittedly, some boxes that weren't unpacked when I moved in, like I had this all this stuff, and I was like, perfect. Okay, yes, quarantine's not great, but let's make the most of it, and let's just get that stuff done. And then at the end of quarantine, we'd be like, life's good. I don't know I mean, I've lived with myself for 42 years, so I'm not sure why that thought even was allowed to spend any time in my mind without being rejected, because that was not what happened, and I should have known that. They have this, you know that phrase, like, nature abhors a vacuum, which I guess means, like, your Hoovers and your Dirt Devils are hated by nature. I don't know. But so nature doesn't like emptiness. Like, it fills things with emptiness. So, you know, if you have an empty space and you poke a hole in the wall or whatever, even if it's like there's no air in it, air's going to rush in, right? It's going to fill the vacuum. That's how my vacuum got filled. I mean, these are all work things that either I needed to do when the quarantine started, or got thrown in the mix somewhere along the way. And there's still a couple of those that are not crossed off. And so quarantine didn't quite turn out to be like a sit back, put your feet up, watch a bunch of TV shows, 10-day vacation. Which is fine. It is fine. It's good. I would have gone stir crazy, I think, if that was the case. But here's the thing. There were a couple days where I got to the end of the day and I'm like, I haven't even done all of my prayer commitment today. So there are several things that I do prayer-wise every day, in addition to celebrating Mass and praying the Liturgy of the Hours. Then I got to the end of the day, I'm like, I have not finished all of that. And then, kind of to like echo my dad, I'm like, you had all day. You had all day. And you couldn't get those things done. What's your problem? Well, back then, when my dad got on our case, I took the blame. My brothers never actually thanked me for that, but that's okay. And this time, I'll take the blame again. I fill it with work and with some other stuff. Certainly, there was some wasted time throughout this last 9 days. But it's just like we just tend to fill it with stuff. And if we're not careful, these vacuums that we find ourselves in every once in a while, whether it's a quarantine or a day off or a snow day, or you just got nothing to do, it's gonna get full. And not always with the things that are most essential if we're not careful. My days, just in general, not just during quarantine, but my days in general, when I can do a lot of praying first thing in the morning or pretty early in the morning, not to check off a box, but to check in with God and put Him first, the rest of the day goes much more differently. It's much better. It's like God responds to our sacrifice of time to Him, or our gift of time to Him, and doesn't have to be a sacrifice, but our gift of time to Him, giving it back to Him. He responds by helping to kind of make the rest of the day go a lot better. You make better decisions. You prioritize better. You're able to jump in and do work better. I know that when I've got like, I haven't prayed yet today. Like today, that was my problem. I hadn't prayed yet at noon or whatever. I hadn't done a lot of my prayer, and I'm like, okay, well, I could do that, but then I've got to do this, and this is maybe due today, and someone's waiting on me on this, and there's and this, and this, and this. And I found I spent a lot of time going, I don't know what I should do right now, right? Lesson 3 of the quarantine that you all have gotten to watch from the outside, whether or not you wanted it to, but you're watching now, so I'm not making you. Lesson 3 is this, like, God gives us time Maybe it's big chunks of time like I've had, or even little chunks of time. They're a gift from him to us. And we do so much better with those gifts when we start by giving them back to him. If we spend the first fruits of time that God gives us in prayer, the rest of the fruits tend to be spent better, more wisely, for God's glory and for our good. So that's our lesson today. Like, when you find yourself, and God has given you the gift of time, which he will give us every day, even when we're super busy. It will happen. If he gives us those gifts, if we're just good about giving the first fruit of that back to him in prayer, then the rest of the gift is even more beautiful. So ponder that as you move into your weekend. Maybe you'll be off work. Maybe you'll have the gift of time. What will we do with it? Will we give the first fruit to the Lord or not? Okay, with that, I will let you go. The rosary tonight will be at 8. I'll be on for that. We've got 8:15 Mass coming to you live from the St. Joseph Rectory Chapel. We do not have confessions at 3:30 tomorrow because we don't have any priests that can technically leave their abode to do it. So to make up for that, on Sunday from 4 to 6, we're going to have confessions in the church. All right. So if you really want to go to confession this weekend, don't come at 3:30. Come for between 4 and 6 on Sunday in the church during adoration. We have our Mass tomorrow at 5. Thank you, Father Nicholas Ashmore, for covering that. And then we have our regular Masses on Sunday morning, 7:30, 9:30, 11:30. Your regularly scheduled priest will be back for those. Then we'll have adoration from 1 to 6 on Sunday. Again, even if you didn't sign up for Masses, feel free to come and see if there are any spots available. If the signs are green outside our doors, that means that it's available. There's still something available. If they're red, that just means, okay, we're full, but go ahead on up to school. There'll be a free seat for you there, and you'll get to be with your fellow parishioners and receive Jesus in the Eucharist. So, hope to see more of you on campus this weekend, and I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. And the next time we see each other, I will have been sprung free from this quarantine. We'll see what we do at the last day. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. God bless.